The nature of mental illness. In 1977, I had a severe break with reality, and they classified it as schizophrenia. And then in 85, it was bipolar, and then at Mount Sinai in New York City in 2016, my doctor, Robert Garrard, said it's depression and anxiety. Well, it's been increasing health for 40 years. This is the 40th year. Mental illness is caused by Satan. I was attacked. I was molested at 10 years old. And there were a few other events real close to that, which are like, the sucker punch, then the roundhouse, and then the kick in the face. And Satan walked off because he damaged me. So what happens, not with all mental illness, some are small, some are large. Mine was very large. When you're wounded, you've got an internal world going on. You're a child, and you don't have to go out in the world, so you're really not part of the world right now. And parents think you're cute and all that kind of stuff. But what happens is you get older, and that festers. Your inner world is in great conflict with the outer world when you have to get a job, in your relationships, those kinds of things. And so they don't mix. They're oil and water, and thus that's when you have a break. And you're going to be schizophrenic or bipolar or deep depression. It manifests itself in many different ways. I'd been studying, there's a thing, it's a video on Gaiam TV called Emotion. And I watched that 3 times, maybe 4. And each time I watched it, I had things shed off of me. But I hadn't quite solved what it was. And then I watched a PhD from Berkeley. His name is Villoldo, Villolol. I think it's Vincent. He's from Berkeley, and he spent 30 years in Peru and Colombia, I think, studying shamanism and how there are wounds of our electrical field, which is our spirit. And he said you have to release these things. Even Harvard, I just read this guy from Harvard talk about all of the traumatic experiences, and when we get triggered, it's living in our electrical field. It's living in our neurons. It hasn't been released. And through studying emotion and Dr. Villoldo and the help of the Holy Spirit, I was able to remember. I remembered the traumatic experience. I didn't put together a couple other things that released me from the cause why they call me schizophrenic. And even bipolar. And I do have a B12 deficiency and folate, so I have to get extra B12 and folate. They're very essential, or it'll mimic bipolar. So anyway, I solved that, and I've titrated down recently from 10 milligrams of Zyprexa, which my last doctor said, you're schizophrenic again. I said, he doesn't know what he's talking about. My doctor said depression and anxiety. Well, my anxiety left. Don't have any more anxiety. And I solved about 25, it's over 25 conflicts that I've had, tiny to, the largest ones. And my mind starts to heal. I got to heal spiritually now. I haven't the Lord told me I haven't lived a victorious life. And last night, I was on 1.25 roughly. I had to cut up to 10. Because the doctor, my PCP, Dr. Diamond Tony, released me because I owed them $15. Well, they said I owed them $30. And I had insurance. I just recently got Access PA, and then they told me to sign up with Aetna Better Health. So I did. Then they canceled it. Aetna did. So anyway, I wound up owing $15. They couldn't bill the other. They should have been able to. And there's no, I had, they wouldn't, oh God. I went to my new doctor at Team Care, and he said just go off the medicine. I'd had an hour-long interview with a therapist um, intake, and I told her I'd solved all these problems. And so he said go off of it. So last night I was on 1.25 roughly milligrams. I slept 11 hours this morning. Now I did take lithium orotate. I took 10 milligrams. And lithium's got 20, orotate is not carbonate, okay? It's the real deal. It's not man-made. And it's got 23 health benefits, including brain health. It's being used to treat Alzheimer's now. Anyway, and I'm a health researcher of 30 years. I started about 30 years ago. So anyway, I'm down to 1.26, and then they said 5 days go to half of that, which is 1.65. Well, I'll do 10 days. I didn't have any side effects last night. When I titrated to 7.5 to 5 to 2.5, 3 weeks, each time there were certain things that happened. I didn't have that happen last night. So, bottom line is the church needs to get involved in mental health. 25% of our nation is mentally ill, and they estimate even more. 7% in Israel. Go figure. They've been shot with bombs all the time, attacked, murdered, and they have 7%. That says a lot about the spirit of Israel. So the church needs to come because the Holy Spirit needs to work in your life to show you your wounds. Where did the first wound begin? It's always going to be young. Freud was right. He had the wrong questions. And the church needs to help people solve their wounds because you can't live a victorious life. The Lord told me I haven't lived a victorious life, although I've led a good life. I've had a lot of good things in my life. I'm one of the top musicians in the world in Christian rock. I was number 6 in New York City in jazz on Reverb Nation, 6 to 8, somewhere along like that. And I've fallen back a long way. No new music. So anyway, mental illness is wounds in early childhood. It may be, God knows with people raping children. They may be, God, 3 months old or a year. They don't remember all that. So you need the Holy Spirit to bring these things to mind and have a professional who can help you delve through all that in a Freudian way, because that's the way I solved it. Was thinking somewhat like Freud. So that's mental illness. It's caused by Satan. He's after everybody on this planet, and he's going to wound you. And he tortured me tremendously. Get that solved, you'll be off your medicine. I'm off all medicine. I don't take blood pressure medicine anymore. I haven't taken gout in a long time. I haven't taken it. I used to take meclizine for inner ear, which was part of an anxiety thing, so it's tied with all this thing. I don't do that. I had 3 blood pressure medicines. I'm not on blood pressure. I don't take them anymore. And that's one reason probably, Diamond Tony Associates dismissed me for non-compliance. I don't want to take a pill. I'll tell you a story about a giraffe. Dr. John Bergman, one of my favorite doctors, Dr. Jack Kruse, is in quantum biology, and it's a new field for me to study. But Dr. Bergman said there was a giraffe, and doctor was walking by, and he said, he's eating way up there. He says, can I check your blood pressure? I said, okay, And so he takes the blood pressure, and he said, my, your blood pressure's real high. You need a pill. Well, giraffe took the pill, came back next week. The giraffe had his head low and all that. And he said, well, we can make you some genetically modified trees way up here and bring them down here. So he did that, and he came out a little while later, and the giraffe was depressed. And he said, why are you depressed? He said, I'm not like the other giraffes. And he said, well, I got a pill for that. So he gave him a pill. And he was happy, but he was sad. And bottom line is, that's what happens. They get you on blood pressure. In the UK, Europe primarily, 159 over 95 is acceptable as long as it doesn't stay there constantly or over. In India, it's 179 over 95. They won't give you a blood pressure medicine. Yes, there are other issues. You could have some heart blockage. You can reverse that with 100% pomegranate juice a year, 2 ounces a day, Tufts University Medical School. There's other ways. I write books. They're on Amazon. One's A Simple Path to Abundant Health. One is ED. Is ED your best friend? Lose him, because I lost him. And I had 13 teetotal. It was $3.99 in the afternoon just a month ago. And I'm 62 years old. I'm going to be 63 real soon. So anyway, that's the gist of mental illness. It's wounds that you can't cope with as a child, and they manifest themselves because there's an inner world that's out of sync with this terrible world we got out here. But there are things you do. You need to work. You need to pay your bills. You need to have good relationships, and so that's it. Thank you very much. Be healthy.